this kind of excuse me if I extrapolate again, this kind of meanness, this kind of deep meanness in how you solve the problem by socking it to people, punishment, 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 punishment. And it bodes the turning around on this. It seems to me it could bode well for turning around on other lame, mean solutions to problems, human problems, because this has certainly been a really bad thing. Something like 75% of the people in the United States are in jail for non-violent drug crimes, and huge, and the jails are a place that corporations are making money. I mean, it's not, these things aren't connected to each other. This way of running the society, who's cooking and who's eating, it's.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm really fascinated by that. The question of, I think you're so right about this being a model for how we think about other things, because they're very densely connected. And I'm really fascinated by, I've been thinking a lot lately about how people change their minds. And I've been thinking a lot about someone I got to know well for the writing of the book, and someone I grew to really think is an extraordinary person. Lee Maddox was a cop in Baltimore and Maryland. And a really passionate believer in the drug war. Lee's best friend, Lisa, was murdered by what she believed was a drug gang when they were in their early 20s. And Lee signed up to be a cop to destroy the drug gangs, to get revenge for her murdered friend. And she was a really tough drug war cop. She would bust people just for having a single joint. But Lee is a really honest person, and Lee noticed two things over time. One is that they were overwhelmingly going, that Lee is not a racist. And she just noticed they just only ever arrested African Americans. One of her colleagues, Matthew Fogg, said to his boss, hey, boss, how come when we do drug raids, we only go to the African American neighborhoods? Why don't we, I'm pretty sure they use drugs in the white neighborhoods. Should we go there? And his boss said words to the effect of, well, yeah, Matthew, you're right. There are, of course, white people use drugs, but white people also get lawyers and they know journalists and they can make a fuss. So, kind of go for the low hanging fruit. So Lee noticed the racism of it, but Lee also noticed something as important in a different way, which is if you're a cop and you arrest a rapist, obviously the next week there's going to be less rape in your town. If you arrest a pedophile, you're going to have less abused children in your area that week. But if you arrest a drug dealer, you don't have any less drug dealing. Everyone knows there's someone else on the corner, frankly, a couple of hours later. But even more than that, what you actually get, and Lee didn't understand this at first, is an increase in the murder rate, right? Which is like, oh, why is that? Why would you have an increase in the murder rate? But this is a consistent effect of arresting drug dealers. And what happens is, if you think about a corner in Brownsville or wherever, where someone's selling drugs, they have established their control of that patch through violence by fighting off their rivals through violence. This is how an illegal market works. It's how alcohol worked under Al Capone. It's not how alcohol works now because it's legal. So they establish that patch by violence and they maintain it by violence. And if you come along and knock them out, what you do is you trigger a turf war for control of that patch. And of course, that turf war will take the form of violence, and you get a lot of innocent people caught in the crossfire. A huge amount of these homicides in Chicago that we've been hearing so much about are exactly where Al Capone was killing people, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's really important to understand that. And Lee, she was seeing her friends die. One of her closest friends in the police was killed doing an undercover drugs raid. And she just thought, I can't do this anymore. She'd gone into the police force to destroy drug gangs, as she realized she was the one keeping them in business, right? The whole system of prohibition keeps them in business. If you legalize drugs, and that means different things for different drugs, but if you move towards a legal, regulated, controlled system of drugs, you genuinely do bankrupt the drug gangs. Ask yourself, where are the illegal alcohol dealers today? Where are the violent armed alcohol dealers? Does the head of Heineken go and shoot the head of Smirnoff in the face? Of course not. But the alcohol hasn't changed. It's the system of regulation. So reclaiming it from armed criminal gangs and having it sold by licensed and regulated salespeople. So Lee quit the Maryland PD. She retrained as a lawyer. She now works getting the convictions of people like the people she arrested quashed, and is an extraordinary campaigner for ending the war on drugs. And I think the more people can see those connections with, exactly as you say, with race, this is profoundly racist system. Even when the individuals are not racist, like Lee and Matthew Fogg were not racist, the effect is racist. And a whole range of other things like you say, like who financially benefits from this.